Well, again, I want to thank my wife for accompanying me, because what are we going to be talking now is an area in which she is heavily engaged, and together her and me were engaged in settling, along with some other 23 farmers. As you will see along my presentation, at some point we decided to settle a biotech company down there, and I will try to tell the story, but based on the synergy between GMO and no-till technologies. And the first picture precisely is summarizing that. If you recognize that thread, would be the DNA molecule representing GMO, and the other is no-till. So we will be dealing with the synergies among the two things. Precisely, the title is the synergy between no-till and biotechnology, the actual and potential positive impacts on different crops, with a special reference to drought tolerance in wheat. Well, the systemic thought and the interaction between the genotype and the crop environment. We have already shown or pay attention to this diagram. I told you that in the first part of my presentation I will be focused mostly in the crop environment. Now I will be still saying something about the crop environment, but focusing the genotype and basically in the interaction between both of them, finally to achieve the bottom square market goals, high productivity in a profitable and sustainable manner. So, as we stated during our previous presentation, to succeed at improving our farming system, we must be fully aware that we are dealing with a very complex and interactive soil plant environment system. So that to properly manage it, besides improving the crop environment, we also need to work on the genotype side, using not only the traditional breeding, but also the most developed scientific and technological advance than biotechnology, GMO technology, as usually we call it, is offering us. We must heavily work with a systemic approach, but also having a permanent, innovative attitude. How did we move forward toward the use of the interaction between biotech and in this case, I will show you a specific interaction of how did we take advantage of both things, I mean no-till and biotechnology. As an example of what I mean by using the interaction and innovative attitude and managing simultaneously genotype and environment, let's consider the following crop strategy we explore in Argentina. Intercropping major crops by taking further advantage of Roundup-ready trait in this case. In this case, we utilized a base herbicide at the beginning, and we were mixing sorghum and soybean in the same field, same cropping season. So early in the season was that. Then we have the sorghum at heading stage, soybean running smoothly down there. Later on the season, we have the sorghum ripening until after a point in which we spray with glyphosate. So we kill sorghum to get it ready to be harvested, and let soybean keep going after harvesting. So at the end of the day, we have soybean also ripening, and we harvest all the two crops. But we even went further with that, combining corn and soybean in this case, sunflower, soybean in this case, and some other combinations. But still, you may be asking why we were doing that. It's just exploring new borders, new frontiers, to be better using the interaction in an innovative way to have further advantage of that. The potentiality of biotechnology. Let me introduce to you, if you haven't seen it, the emblematic golden rice case as well as the corn case. Let's go first for the golden rice case. The banning of many scientific advances, like the biotech applied in agriculture, create unbearable humanitarian cost in many cases. Who is assuming the withholding cost of this type of technology? It's a question that I keep doing to myself. And you will see why I'm asking this question. One continent that heavily depends on rice for their diets. This is mostly referring to Southeast Asia. In this situation, the lack of A vitamin is blinding millions of children every year. And biotechnology has already brought a solution to this. Still, it's not widespread because not fair environmentalistic positions are banning the possibility of using it. It is for free, and it was offered to the whole humanity for the creators. Still, it's not widespread as much as it should be. The golden rice showed as a promising solution. It's just a modified rice that will produce A vitamin on the grains. And just by eating that, we will be easily solving that blindness children situation. We have two generations of them. The first generation has a lower content in A vitamin, but then they went further and they have a higher content of A vitamin in such a way that for a given amount of rice, more or less the normal consumption for a person will have enough A vitamin to avoid blindness. So it was offered to humanity all, as I said, by the Creator, but still is not widely utilized because of those banning, nonsense banning that sometimes is being obliged and compulsory applied. By the way, the one in the middle there is the Creator. In that table I have the joy to share with him. We invited him to our annual meeting, so we were heavily stimulated by the potentiality of biotechnology. I was asking many people among the emblematic people about the cost of banning the access of such a program for humanity, even to Prince Charles, and I didn't have a proper answer to it. Really, you know, because of the organic conviction that if something is not organic, it's not useful or is potentially harmful. I'm not criticizing him, of course, I am very respectful of him, but I just put as an example of how things sometimes are not fair around the world. Argentina, corn management, improving corn performance by using BT, MG, and other traits like RR and IMI and some others. In Argentina, we have a planting window similar to this latitude of you, early in the spring, and late in the spring we can go for both of them, and we will be harvesting during the autumn time previous to the winter time. So sometimes we take the advantage of utilizing the two planting windows. This is the case in this picture. The one in the left or the one in the right was early planting in the spring, and the one in the left is late planting. It's just not to have the heading, the most critical drought tolerance period or sensitivity period at the same time. It's just a way to manage risk. But the problem is that to go for late planting, the borers and all those insects will be much more harmful. So whenever we had the BT technology with us, we were able to open that second window very successfully. So if you compare in this picture, the one on the right is the BT corn that is self-protected for the European corn borer damage, and the one in the right is just the same hybrid without that technology. So if you want to protect the one on the right, you have to apply a lot of insecticide and you will not succeed in most of the cases. So look at the one on the left is the stock of a BT corn, MG also called, and the one in the right is the wild type of the same hybrid without the genetic trait. The one in the left, you can see much more healthy grain, and the one in the right again was damaged by the worms. If you look at this, the right part of the picture is the trap area that we kept there. I mean, same hybrid, one carrying the technology, the one in the left, and the other no, to be used as a trap area, not to put too much selection pressure and to have this technology lasting longer. So again, the same, the arrow or the point down there is the trap area, and the one at the right is the same hybrid protected by the technology. If we have a close-up to the trap area, you can see how heavy damage was the corn plant. And also, since it was damaged, it didn't grow up so well, so you have a lot of wheat. You need more herbicide, you need to apply a lot of insecticide there if you want to keep them in shape. So this is some kind of environmental benefits, you know, of using this kind of technology. Even the worms will go up and get into the basal part of the earth, and also creating some damage where fungi will also create extra damage there. Now if we move to the protected one, you can see how healthy, only 10 meters apart, or I would say at border just 2 meters apart. So this is just to show you the potentiality of this technology. Of course, this is GMO protected and planted in the second window, as I said, not being bothered by the insect. Innovation and managing low freezing temperatures, the chance of detecting genes, traits that could potentially help with these abiotic stresses. Again, the two planting windows, when we go for the later one, we may have some frost damage, as well as if we plant too early in the spring. Definitely there are differences among hybrids. You can see the one in the right, when we plant in cool soils, is not so good as the one in the left. So we have to select that, probably utilize them by GMO or by traditional breeding. But still, there are genetic variability there that can be selected, picked up, and introduced to our hybrids to take further advantage. In this case, a late frost was killing the growing point of this plant. It was this tall. This is atypical, but sometimes happens. But again, scouting the field, this was two different hybrids planted the same day, and you can see the one in the left how better performed. Again, down there are genetic differences that could be selected and eventually managed through biotechnology. Taking advantage of the residual nitrogen fixed by previous season soybean, we run our crop and our corn in this way. So again, have in mind the synergy between biotechnology and no-till. In this case, protected corn planted in a proper time of the year, yielding 12 to 13 tons of grain per hectare, utilizing the residual nitrogen of soybean of previous crop. Look at the soil, look at the roots, and look at this, 14.5 tons per hectare. This was 3 years ago in my farm. Leaving there a large amount of mug, as I used to say. I like to name it. So if we look at this was the production of corn in my country. I will not point all the figures, but what I want you to have clear in mind that in this part, we have biotechnology and no-till synergy working for us. So you can clearly see the benefits we have out of them. So being heavily stimulated by all this, we as farmers decided to settle down a biotech company. We sat around the table between 3 farmers, all of them belonging to APRESID, the Argentinian No-Till Farmers Association. We were already aware about these benefits, so we said, let's start doing something. And we did. So what we said, excuse me, we settled down a company whose name was Bioceres. I will just briefly go and describe for you the company. Bioceres is an Argentinian-based investment management firm in the field of agricultural biotechnology and related sciences. Science, science, and science. Science is the base in which we move with. You know, biotechnology is equal to science behind. Otherwise, it's not fair. I mean, we have to look at science and be based on it. The company was founded in 2001, 23 Argentine farmers. Nowadays, it's privately held by 249 shareholders, mostly farmers operating in the Latin American region. Shareholders base farms over 2.5 million hectares. So the benefits we saw from the beginning, we said we will put money there. Hopefully we will have some revenue from getting some interesting trade that could be commercialized. But if we just get one, we will be benefit ourselves as farmers largely farther beyond of the money we have invested on the company at the beginning. So Bioceres grew up, and nowadays is a group of companies with Bioceres is the umbrella one that has several of them behind, not behind, below, but some of them we just settled a new one, a kind of a joint company with an American company which is called, what? It went out of my, Arcadia is the American one, partners, and the purpose is to bring up there the drought tolerant gene already introduced in soybean to be sold in the US market. Huge building. As a consequence of this type of assets that we already achieved, our company that started with just a couple of $1,000 value we put on them is being evaluated nowadays in $200 million. That's the price the people that do the evaluation of the company say it was nowadays. So it's a kind of success that I want to share with you. We have different areas of development nowadays: genomics and molecular biology, synthetic biology, protein technology, plant transformation, tissue, breeding and testing, and we have our seed company and the regulatory department also, because we already got the patent for some of our genes in different countries of the world, including USA and I think Australia also. Our products and technology, the core crops are wheat, soy, maize and alfalfa, but we have some extra on the pipeline coming on. Stress-tolerant technology, let's stop a little bit in this. GMO-based, constitutive or inductive molecular strategies. Technology provides tolerance to drought and salinity and also herbivory. It has some tolerance to insect damage. 3 international patent families. Just to show you some of the results, this is the case of wheat, which is in the testing phase. A lot of, probably 100 trials at the field level, and what we have found is that in the low yield scenarios, somewhere between 1.5 to 2.5 tons, we are seeing an increase in yield of 22% when it is a draw period along the crop cycle. When we move to 2.5 to 3.5 ton scenario for potential yield, our increase is averaging 17%. And if we go to the extremely high, 8 tons or similar for wheat, no water restriction there, so no increase, but also no decrease on not yield drag from the technology. It's very promising. Now, moving to the stress-tolerant technology in salt, salinity technology, the light blue line on the upper part is the biomass along the days in which that was accumulated and developed, and it was carrying the salinity tolerant gene, and the red line was not carrying the salinity tolerant gene. So again, it's showing a promising behavior or in front of this limitation. So we have some other herbicide-resistant technology, different physiological pathway to the one we are using nowadays. Another gene is conferring to alfalfa the ability to keep green leaves after being cut, for a longer period. So it is very important for hay production and keeping the quality of the protein on the leaves. So another known core crop technology: sorghum, sunflower, amaranthus, rice, cotton, rapeseed, mustard, safflower, and some others are on the pipeline. We have developed a specific technology in a joint venture with a Canadian company. We introduced a gene in safflower that will allow the plant to produce the chymosin, and the chymosin is the enzyme that is actually used to produce cheese. So it will be produced on the grain and extracted from the grain in a high level of purity and in much less or lower cost of production and higher level of purity. We are already in the commercial market with this product. It's being approved, regulated, so we are having also success with that. The innovative attitude at work: no-tilling wheat and soybean. Just some examples. No-tilling wheat in Argentina, where it's more or less like here. We are at the same latitude. We mostly grow spring wheat, so we plant it during the autumn time and at the beginning of the winter, and we harvest at the end of the spring, the beginning of the summer. But again, putting together no-till and biotech, we are very successful at extensively cultivate wheat under no-till. So if we take the right decision, the crop result and harvest will reward us. In many cases, we are having very, very good results. And this is an emblematic one, getting 4.5 tons of wheat with only 30 millimeters of rain between planting and harvesting. And this is, again, the synergy. It's because we are managing the water in a much better manner after 30 years of no-tilling on them. So I'm wondering now, I'm waiting a couple of extra years to have the drought-tolerant gene included in this, to look for further synergy. So, well, there are plenty of information. In this case, Canada, in Ontario, after 20 years of no-till, the numbers on the different, the applied nitrogen, 30, 60, 1920 kilograms, and the numbers there on the line, on the blue lines, and also on the red line, are the protein content of wheat. You can see in all cases a higher efficiency at using nitrogen to increase the protein content. So again, we are talking about synergies. In this case, no-till with the use of nitrogen and coming up with a better quality in our wheat. So by utilizing all these principles, look what has happened with our wheat production in Argentina. The lower lines are the area cropped and harvested, and the red and black one are both the yield and the total country production. Again, when no-till came into, and some of these modern technologies and synergies, we really boomed in the country production. The no-till adoption and results in Argentina and some other South American countries. The adoption pattern for no-till. We are even certificating the process of no-till and good agricultural practices. We have a model to certify that if any of the buyers or the clients will want to know how do we produce it in a very detailed fashion. So that is the curve for no-till adoption, and I can tell you that nowadays we have 85% of our area cropped down there in Argentina under no-till, that will account for 25 million, 26 million hectares out of the 30 million hectares we are actually cropping there. And if we put together all the grains and oilseeds, that's the result for the country. And after the blue line, I think I showed this picture to you in the previous presentation, but anyhow, we almost tripled the production during the last 15 years due to the synergies, no-till, biotechnology, innovation, modern technologies, and farmers' innovative attitude at the bottom line. So we are doing global efforts because we are really convinced, we really believe that the best challenge we have as farmers is not to be afraid of competition again. We are entirely open, we share all our experience, and we are expecting to learn for farmers from other parts of the world, because in the shoulders of us, the farmers, we have a heavy commitment or task of feeding the world in the coming years. So, taking into consideration, into account that so far only around 10% of the world's agriculture has adopted no-till and the Moshpa model principles, to keep improving global agriculture, we must double our efforts oriented to achieve a further development and a wider adoption of them. I was lucky enough and have the privilege of presenting to and even discussing with and validate this paradigmatic new farming system with very emblematic and influential people. In this case, with Queen Beatrice from Holland. She came to Argentina in a delegation, and she was extremely interested in knowing more about our agricultural revolution down there. Also, I brought this knowledge to many other different countries, like Ukraine in this case, and Russia. And, well, as I said, with my wife, we visited 26 countries during the last 15, 20 years. So in this case, in FAO, discussing global strategies with people there, and so forth. And just as some conclusion, because I don't want to take longer, when we talk about innovation, if we look at this poor Moroccan farmer, you know, he's still doing some innovation, even he's plowing the land, because when he was asked why he was using two different species, camel or dromedarians and oats, and his answer was because since they are two different species, they speak different languages, so they cannot talk each other, and they are more efficient at work. So it's an example of innovation can be applied independently of any restriction you may have. If we develop the capacity to understand the natural message, we will discover that even we are competitors, the best way to construct a better future for all of us is to be generous, to look for partnership, and to share our knowledge, abilities and resources to create value and to improve the world's farming system. Finally, I feel it is also important to add that I strongly encourage, support, and modestly join your efforts oriented to improve and enlarge in a sustainable fashion the production of wheat and other grains and oilseed for humanity all. If in reality, if we achieve this goal of developing the capacity to provide enough food for all humanity in a sustainable way, undoubtedly we will have a meaningful and happier life, and at the same time we will be constructing a better future for our children. Thank you very much for your kind attention.